Hello, and welcome to another edition of VisiData Case Studies. And today I want to talk about SQLite and some of the ways that you can use VisiData to interact with SQLite databases, both read and write. So I have a bunch of tables that I've stored some data into, and I think a lot of people have these. They put them in Google Sheets or in an Excel spreadsheet or maybe something else. It should come as no surprise to anybody that, of course, I store them in more open formats, and I use VisiData to interact with them. So I started off with some TSV files, which are just simple tab-separated value files. It's kind of the simplest format, which is why I liked it for a long time. Then I went on to JSON lines format. JSON lines is good because the information can be typed, and you can add columns on subsequent rows without having to restructure, reformat the entire file and all the rest of the rows. And I like JSON lines actually still quite a bit because you can commit it into Git. It's a text file format. It's my favorite text format currently to store data in. And it's, like I said, you can commit it to a Git repo, and it's kind of reasonable to get diffs against if you're only modifying a few things, if you're not adding a column to every line, for instance. But then I decided that I wanted to, that worked out fine for a while, but then I wanted to move it to a SQLite database and play around with that for a while. And so actually currently I have these records in my SQLite database, and these tables. And so I have things like my eyeglass prescriptions and games I've tried, books I've read, and stuff like that. And I've been wanting a feature for a while, actually, which is the ability to rename tables and drop tables, basically interact with the SQLite database at this higher level. You can already go in, and this is my list of links, and I can go in and I can either add a new row at the bottom, or add a new row in general, and you edit the things, test links, and put a link in here or something, I don't know. And then if I wanted to save it with Z Control S, it would ask me if I want to add this row, and I would, and there you go. And I can do the same thing. I can edit a field, and it turns yellow to indicate that it's modified. I can delete a row with D, same kind of thing. And these are all, you can add, modify, and delete rows, and this is all legit. This is all been working for a while. But at the higher level, and I just dropped those. If you don't press Z Control S and actually say, yes, I want to save over it, everything just gets tossed. It doesn't actually persist. So, although, if you go back into the sheet, the stuff is still in there. So you have to actually quit out the program entirely in order to lose those changes, if you will. So let me actually just do that and come back. And I wanted to rename a database, or I'm sorry, a table here. This is the feature I just added. And so this list here, this later, is actually a list of links that I want to read later. And then this list of books is actually books that I've read. And so just to change the name of this. And now these have been changed. And I can go press Z Control S, and it's going to offer to, do we want to change these values? If I say yes, it's going to go ahead and actually alter the database. And it goes and reloads it, and sure enough, those tables have been renamed. So, so I added the alter, and I added the drop table stuff. Now, if you want to know how you can add a new table to this database in the first place, that's actually really easy. If I want to, for instance, I have this sample data here, which is just a stupid list of pens and pencils bought here. But if I wanted to save this into the database, I would save the file with Control S. This is Control S now, not Z Control S. It's just plain old Control S. And I save it to the same SQLite database that already exists. Now it's going to ask me if I want to overwrite, and it sounds scary, but actually I'm not overwriting it. I'm just writing to it, and it already exists. It's a bit of a misnomer here. And so if I say yes, then now it's saved that table to it. And now if we go back and look at the records that I have here, there's sure enough a sample table at the bottom which has the data in it. So basically, in order writing a table out to an existing database just appends that information to it. Now, if the table had already existed, the name of the table had already existed, then it would have appended those rows. You'd have to be a little careful in terms of making sure that what you want to be in there is correct, but it does work very reasonably. And then if I wanted to delete this table now again, and I don't want it in there after all, I would press D on this page, just like you do anything, and marks it to be deleted. And then if I commit the result with Z Control S again, you can see that the commit sheet command, really delete one tables, yes. And when I do that, then it's going to delete that table and reload, and the table's gone. So that's how you can add new data to a SQLite database. It's how you can delete, rename tables, and of course you can already have added, removed, and modified data in a SQLite database in the first place. And so I use VisiData for all this stuff. I like SQLite format because my tables can all be in one place, and it's a single file that I can copy around and back up, copy to different hosts, and that's it. So I hope this inspires some SQLite usage with VisiData, and hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next time.